Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture is titled Daytime Moon Meets Evening Star. So what do we see here? Well, here we see our moon and the planet Venus very close together in the sky. So our moon, a very young moon, just a couple of days old, and this was taken on June 17th, so just 3 days ago, this image was taken. Now, at that time, the moon occulted the planet Venus. What does that mean? Well, an occultation means that one object passes in front of the other. And in this case, because the moon is very close to us, the moon passed in front of Venus, and it would have disappeared for a period of time. Then, of course, it would reappear. Now, this occurred during the daytime where this image was taken in British Columbia, Canada. And planet Venus would have disappeared behind the darker side of the moon earlier, and then we're seeing it here just as it reappeared on the sunlit side. And that would have been the very end of the occultation. You can see how close together they are in the sky. The moon itself is about half a degree in size, so we're looking at a very tiny fraction of a degree. This is very close to right after the occultation ended. The occultation itself lasted about an hour, about how long it takes as the moon moves through the sky relative to the planet Venus. So that would be a relatively slow motion, giving it about an hour that it would take for the entire moon to gain that half degree on Venus and allow Venus to pass off the other side. Now, we also see the great size difference here. Moon looks very large, Venus looks very small, even though we know the opposite is the case. Venus is many times larger than our moon, but it is also many times farther away. So it looks just like a point of light in the sky, and if you've ever looked at Venus, you can't see any size to it without a telescope. You need a telescope to be able to pick out the disk of the planet, so that was not done for the first time until the early 1600s when Galileo turned his telescope to the sky. And one thing that he noted was that Venus would also go through phases just like our moon. It went through a complete cycle of phases, just like the moon does going around Earth. And that told us that Venus had to orbit the sun. There was no way that Venus could orbit the Earth and go through a complete cycle of phases. It's just not geometrically possible to get that complete cycle of phases and still explain all of the orbits of Venus and how its position in the sky changes. So that was really one of our first big pieces of evidence that was pushing us toward the idea that the Earth was a planet and that the Earth orbited the sun as well. Seeing phases of Venus didn't tell us that completely. What it did tell us is that Venus had to orbit the sun, which was a big step in the right direction. So that was our picture of the day, titled Daytime Moon Meets Evening Star. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Kilogram of the Sky. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.